am from beyond. Listen, and all you desire will be yours. Welcome to Spider-Dan and the Secret Balls. Prepare for Prattle. Shockphobia Fest.
Welcome to Prattle World. I'm your host, the ever-amazing, ever-spectacular Spider-Dan. And in this podcast, I spotlight entertainment's best-kept secrets that a mainstream audience may find boring. And welcome back to Shockphobia Fest. And we are back with another Clone Wars, a comparison podcast of two classic movies that are now set in the Halloween period, and I've brought back the incredible Scream Queen Roisin is back to compare two of her favourite movies, and I'm really looking forward to this one. Welcome back, Roisin.
Hi, thank you for having me back. I'm so excited.
Well, I had to have you back after last Halloween because it was we had got such a good kind of response from doing the Scream Queens. I had to have you back, and again, the Hollow Man one we did as well. It was a huge response from that. So
fantastic!
And you are one of my favourite guests, of course.
Thank you.
It's always great to have you. So yeah, we're gonna look at two Rob Zombie movies. I know you're you and your boyfriend Laurie are big fans of Rob Zombie. I've not really seen that much of kind of Rob Zombie stuff, so I'm kind of relatively new to his things.
He's an excellent guy, really. We saw him live actually at Download Festival last year, and it was probably one of the best sets and performances I've seen live. It was a full-on show. It was fantastic.
He's quite kind of theatrical, kind of like an Alice Cooper.
Yeah. And all the guys in the band were dressed up. He just looks like his usual dirty self. And it was just like a full-on show. There was projections and lights, and it was just awesome. And he played all the best songs, so yeah, it was really cool.
Amazing. So we're going to look at two films. We're going to look at House of 1,000 Corpses, which I always say it's a house of 1,000 corpses, but it's a house of 1,000 corpses.
I'm the same. It's like House of 1,000 Corpses.
House of 1,000, 8,000, who knows? And 31. So the one was released in House of 1,000 Corpses was released in 2003, and 31 was released in 2016. So it's quite a bit of time between the two. The reason we're comparing them, they are quite similar. So both directed by Rob Zombie. Both star his wife, Sherry Moon Zombie. Both set around Halloween. Both set in the 70s. And both feature killer clowns.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's more, reasons for comparison.
We'll go through that.
Oh, I'm sure. There's a lot to talk about. Shall we start off by talking about House of 1,000 Corpses?
I actually got this on DVD when I was young, when video stores... Oh, no, wait. Would video stores have been around? Yeah, I think so. 2003, 2004.
2000, yeah, they'll still be going.
Yeah, so I bought this because I used to always, when you go into video stores, I used to always go into the horror section and just look at the covers of all the videos and DVDs and just be like, ooh, that one looks scary, And I just went, and I think it must have been closing down, so I just went round and I just bought DVDs, The House of 1,000 Corpses being one of them. Yeah, I'd never seen anything like it, I don't think, because I'd always watched horror films as a child. But I'd never seen anything quite like this before. And I remember when I was a bit older, I was in college, and a friend asked to borrow a horror movie because she was watching it with like a new boyfriend. And I was like, oh, I've got this one for you. It's really like scary. And I lent it to her. And the next day she gave it back. She was like, yeah, I don't think I should have watched that. It really creeped them out, and they didn't want to like touch each other afterwards. They were like, stay away from me.
Yeah, I don't think it's probably not one of those that you want to hug your partner or get or something. Yeah,
I should have just lent her like House of Wax or something like that. If she wanted.
One of those classic. It's very.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's clearly inspired by those kind of 70s, kind of backwoods, kind of hillbilly, exploitation,
Yeah.
kind of films like
Heavily Texas Chainsaw. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You've got the weird family, that kind of kill or make things out of them, and things like that. So I got a really kind of good vibe. But I think I was watching a video on YouTube about how important this movie was in terms of what was coming out horror wise at the time. Like you had your kind of I Know What You Did Last Summer's. There was very clean, beautiful, very sexy looking young people, and there's some guy with a knife after them and stuff. And that's kind of what you were getting a lot of at that period. And this kind of brought back that kind of grungy, ultra-violent kind of feel, the grungy kind of 70s kind of...
Yeah. I think, was this after Saw, actually? Let me just have a quick look. Oh, no, so Saw's 2004. Right, so that's interesting, because I went to a convention last year called For the Love of Horror, and they were discussing how... Oh, no, actually, no, sorry. This was... I was watching a documentary about horror movies and how it's changed over the years, like what audience have kind of needed and what audiences go to see. I think Saw, and well, clearly House of 1,000 Corpses, is like the first post 9/11 horror movie, horror franchises, where I think people were looking for something terrifying because they wanted to get away from what was really happening.
Exactly.
In real life, they were like, well, we need something scarier than this to kind of escape from it. And yeah, so
because real life was at the time was kind of a horror story in itself. So you kind of something more horrific, in fact, to kind of take away from that, I guess. Probably similar to what we're going through at the moment with all the coronavirus and stuff. People need that distraction from the depression and the death toll.
Recession,
and everything, all of this. I think we might probably get some quite interesting kind of horror movies coming out of this.
I think so, definitely.
But yeah. So it's probably hard to describe, but what's kind of the plot of The House of 1,000 Corpses, would you say?
Oh, it's interesting because I think the trilogy, so House of 1,000 Corpses, The Devil's Rejects, and Three from Hell, the murderers are almost like the protagonists. You're following them, really. So if you were to describe it with them, with the Firefly family as the protagonist, I say you're just following a family on Halloween when some intruders come by. I don't know how to describe. There's four friends who are on they're touring America, aren't they? And they're looking for hotspots of all things weird and horror-y.
It's kind of on the road, isn't it? It's like a road thing, going.
Road movie.
All the kind of tourist traps, I think, that they're looking for is kind of the thing. And that's that's sort of like, it's a kind of little bit of the story, but it's sort of a lot of it as well, but not.
Yeah, so they stumble upon Captain Spaulding's gas station where he sells buckets of fried chicken, and he's got a museum of monsters and madmen around the back as well, which is just perfect. I just think, I can imagine that was really about.
I can imagine somebody would combine those two things just to make money.
And he entices them and tells them about a local legend, which is Dr. Satan, and gets them on his monsters and madmen ride, tells them about the tales, and then as they're planning to drive away, they have they pick up Sherry Moon, don't they?
That's
they pick
right.
up a hitchhiker.
Spaulding tells them how to find where Dr. Satan is, kind of leads them there. Says, he's around there, or that's the area he worked in.
Yeah, so drive that way. And then they pick her up, and they drop her off at home. She introduces them to a lovely family, and then they have some car troubles, and they end up staying the night.
Standard.
Basically. Yeah, because it is only just one night, really, isn't it? Oh no, is it two?
I think it's
a couple of.
I think it's the night before Halloween, so Devil's Night, as it's sometimes called. And then Halloween itself, because you've got quite a few scenes in the kind of daytime. But yeah, I kind of see it as a film in three parts. Now, I know it was filmed in 2000. For Universal, Rob Zombie was he was doing like a Universal Horror Nights for Halloween. He was going to design that, and they said, and while he was there, he was like, I've got an idea for a movie, and he was like, yep, we'll take it, whatever you want, sure. And then he filmed it, did it, made it, showed it, and they went, we can absolutely not release this. We can never release this. So they kind of
what the fuck
was
is this?
Yeah, are you mental? So he was like, right. So he recut it several times. And eventually said, nah, we're never releasing this. It will never get a rating. It will never pass the MPAA, I think they're called in America, the rating system or board. So it ended up passing it over to Lionsgate. I'm not sure if they're an arm of Universal or just a separate... I think they're a separate entity. But they ended up releasing it. But at this point, it's almost been chopped and chopped and chopped and chopped. He said he filmed 2 versions as well, like a less gruesome version and a more gruesome version, and they're kind of have been interchangeably cut. And I think that's the main issue I have with the film is it's not got a really strong through line. It's in 3 parts for me. It's the first part with Spaulding and the madmen, and then the next part is in the house, the Firefly house.
Yeah.
And then the next bit is finding, discovering Dr. Satan. I think those are the clear kind of 3 sections. And I don't think the connective tissue is necessarily there all the way through. Again, I really enjoyed it. I love a lot of the stuff. I love the performances. Again, another issue I had is, like you said, the villains are the protagonists, but I think the issue I had with them is that they're full tilt crazy straight away. Like, there's no build up. It's like, I'm crazy, that sort of thing. It's just absolute mental. So I felt like maybe we could have built to the madness a bit.
Are they just a bit weird at first?
I think you get that a little bit with Spaulding, but I don't think you get that with the others. I think it's just like, we're crazy. And maybe a bit with was it Baby Firefly? I think you get a little bit of that, but I think everyone else is just like, I'm mad, that kind of thing.
I think that's the problem when something's over edited. That's you can kind of lose that through line, like you were saying. So maybe that was down to that. I didn't realise it was chopped and changed so much. So potentially, that's where it got lost a little bit.
Again, I think it's. I think that opening's really good with Spaulding and the robbery. I love that. I absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's great. And he's like, well, fuck your mom and fuck her too. Your grandma. All that sort of stuff is just fantastic. It's great tension. It's great, like, it's mad. And you're like, oh my God. But I feel in a way, kind of, because I've seen kind of posters. I've not seen the sequels, but I've seen posters and various images, trailers, and what have you. So I'm aware that Spaulding is part of that kind of clan, the Firefly, or involved with the Firefly clan.
You wouldn't get that if you just
if I just watched
only
it,
seen the first one.
But also, I kind of felt like if you'd had that scene maybe later in the film, you might have kind of not made that connection anyway, because I think at the end I didn't find that kind of surprise that surprising, if you know what I mean. That's a kind of surprise.
Where he's sat in the back of the car.
You think she's safe, she's with Spaulding, and again, I know he's only killing guys that are trying to rob his store, but it's still kind of like he's crazy and will shoot people. So I don't know if maybe that came maybe midway through the film, or like just before the cops arrive at his house, maybe that would have worked better. But again, I don't know, but but I still enjoyed it, and but also, have you ever seen films that are like homages to things where they are such good homages and you appreciate them, but in the back of your mind you kind of want to watch the film that they're like doing an homage of. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, so part of me was like, this is good, but I'd rather watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre as well. You know what I mean? Somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm like, it just makes me really want to watch that other film. But again, like, it's really cool. I liked Karen Black was great in it.
She is.
She was fantastic. Proper crazy. I watched a Trilogy of Terror the other day.
Nice.
Classic kind of. I think it was like a TV horror anthology. It's got the little like Zuni doll. And it comes after. Yeah, that's fantastic. She plays like 4 roles in in every story. She plays like different roles, but fantastic, really, really good stuff. What do you think of like the setting and all the kind of the horror trappings and the kind of the way the kind of set looks? I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, I am a really big fan of all the locations. Really, I think they did a great job. I think it was all studio
Yeah,
sets,
I think
wasn't
it was
it?
the Universal backlot. I think they used.
Yeah. No, I don't know what it is. I think I've just got like, I just see it as like, I just really enjoy this movie. So there's a couple of things that I could definitely say like, oh, it could be better. But,
Do you like the setting? Do you think it looks good? Do you like all the kind of references to all the older horror films or the classic horror films? Like,
yeah. Like, I think just the house itself, the Firefly family house, it just seems like a maze of hell. Really, with the dolls hanging outside and the girls, the cheerleaders in the shed out back, and Tiny's bedroom, and you've got Otis. So you can picture like Otis has got like the attic room, and he's like, "I'm the oldest. I want that room." No, I like it. It's very old, like Texan outback, real old house. No, I just think it's really cool.
Yeah. It does look like a set, but I kind of think that kind of adds to it. Like it's kind of, I can very much tell it's like a set that's been decked out with all this stuff. But
Yeah.
I quite like that kind of aesthetic to it. I do like in horror films where like they introduce new characters and you think, oh, these are the guys that will save everybody. They'll put everything right.
Who did you think that was?
The cops.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it's horrible.
The cops.
I remember
and the dad as well. The dad.
Oh no.
Yeah, the dad is played by. Have you seen Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the old guy who starts off the film. He's walking in the graveyard.
Yeah.
That's that same actor. So
oh no way!
So at the end of Saving Private Ryan, you realise you think he's playing Tom Hanks in the film, but in the end, he's actually playing Matt Damon.
Nice.
And he's the same guy, and he wears the same outfit in the film.
Really?
House of 1,000 Corpses. Yeah, he wears.
I didn't see that actually. I didn't notice that. I do like because obviously it's quite an old film now, but I like when I go back and watch it, you spot different people. So like, there's an actor called Walton Goggins who I've watched recently in The Righteous Gemstones. He plays Baby Billy, I think they're called. I think he's called like the uncle, and he's just fantastic in that. And then when we were watching House of 1,000 Corpses recently, and I was like, oh my God, is that Baby Billy? And it was it's really cool to see. And you've also got you've got Ray Wilson, who's best known as Dwight in The Office.
Yeah.
And I think that was the first thing I saw him in, to be honest. It's the first thing I can think of off the top of my head that I saw him in. But yeah, who gets turned into Fish Boy. Ooh, so horrible.
Yeah. I don't think it's like he's like in a mermaid pose, like a sexy mermaid.
Yeah, like leaning off to the side a little bit.
Yes, so it's funny. But yeah, I think it's one of those films that you can laugh at as well.
The thing is, like, we're going to go into more about like the writing and things like that, but I can just picture these people. Like, this is how these people talk. Southern America,
life, yeah.
Like the jokes that they tell and the clothes they wear, and like, do you know the bit where she goes to where Sherry Moon and the other guy? I'm not quite sure of his name. The one with the long brown hair, not Otis Driftwood, the biggest, stockier guy.
Yeah.
So they go to pick up some beer at Pussy Liquor, and just the guy's like,
Goober.
What's the guy that's serving them? Yeah, Goober. And she says, yeah, I like to get fucked up and do fucked up shit. He's like, yeah, I like to get fucked up too. I bet you do, Goober. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I can just picture these people. I think I was told that apparently Rob Zombie was raised in like a carny environment, like a bit of a, and you're right about like what you know, don't you? And I can just imagine him sat there with the writers saying like, oh, this is what this person would be like. I know this person. I met this person, kind of thing. So you do feel this bit of authenticity from it.
Yeah, or it's like an exaggeration of someone he knew, or
yeah.
Like, over the top. Like, I didn't know all these murderers, but I did know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a really interesting film, and it's, again, I think it did affect things. It did change things. Whether you like it or not, whether you have whatever your opinions are of Rob Zombie. I know. I've seen his Halloween movies. They're not for me personally.
Okay. I mean, the first one I liked. The second one I got a bit confused.
Well,
I was like, who's this lady?
You're not the only
anyway,
one.
so,
you're not the only one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not. They weren't for me. But that's, again, they're for other people. If you like it, you like it.
Yeah. Well, it didn't do very well when it was first released, like in 2003, it wasn't very well received at all. And now it's almost like this cult phenomenon. And
Yeah.
the Firefly family are really well established now in like the horror genre and within the horror community. Like huge, I know so many cosplayers that'll dress up like Spalding or the three.
I saw.
So
Did I
it's the
see
Devil's
you
Rejects.
Did I see you and Laurie do it a while back? You dressed
Yeah,
up.
so I was Baby, his brother was Otis, and Laurie was Spalding.
Nice.
And it was. Do you know, we actually met Bill Moseley at For the Love of Horror last year.
Oh, nice.
And he looks great. Like, honestly, I didn't realise how old Sid Haig was. 80 last year when he sadly passed away, and he passed away right before we were meant to meet him at this convention. Then I think Bill Moseley's only like 70. I mean, he looks fantastic. And just the fact that he's able to still make these movies and portray Otis Driftwood with such vigour. Like, he's just fantastic.
I remember him in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
It's chopped up.
Yeah, he plays the hitchhiker, the original hitchhiker, and he's like scratching his metal plate in his head with the bloody wire hanger. He's just like, you know.
He was saying, he was talking about that. He was just saying that a lot of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, like, he was just ad-libbing. Like, the director would just be like, just say whatever else. So he'd just be like whacking someone over the head or something and just shouting like "incoming mail," and like he'd just be screaming like all these different lines. It's just great.
I really loved in the film the 16mm bits where I think they were filmed in Rob's basement.
He didn't really use in the rest of the trilogy, not that I can think of. Do you know where it kind of turns negative?
The quality drops.
Yeah, the quality drops. It goes negative, and it's like just very interesting. But I think it makes it look more independent, even though it was obviously shot in a studio.
Yeah,
it just gives it that kind of independent feeling. I feel like 31 wasn't shot in a studio. That one was his independent, like fully funded film, but looks like it was shot in a studio. If that makes sense. So it's almost like they've reversed. Completely opposite.
It gives it the kind of, much like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it gives it that snuff movie feel, like it's real, like it could have happened. This was recorded on a hand, found footage almost. It could have happened.
I think I do try and encourage people to watch it just for the performances and the characters, and like you say, it is funny. There are some funny bits in it, and you can't help but root for them a little bit. It's just bizarre. It's really bizarre. But the bit with when the cops arrive, I mean, that did break my heart a little bit when I first watched it. I was like, oh no, it's not gonna go well. And the long drawn out shot, Baby Billy from Righteous Gemstones is just sat there waiting to see if he's gonna pull the trigger. That is ace. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say that's one of my favourite sequences, along with the break in at Captain Spaulding's at the start. That, for me, is like one of those standouts.
The slow-mo.
I tell you what, we've not really talked about we talked a little bit about, like, it's hard to talk around the film because it's just very like, wah! It's a bad film, but the kids are tortured and killed and then taken to Dr. Satan. What did you think of the Dr. Satan section?
So this bit still confuses me a little bit to this day. So two of them, they're dressed as rabbits. Well, three of them are dressed as rabbits. Rainn Wilson turns into Fish Boy. The other three are dressed in rabbit costumes and taken to Dr. Satan's lair. One of them gets away, but then gets chased by Sherry Moon. The other two, so they're lowered down in this huge coffin, down underground. And then the coffin's kind of like sat underground, but above like a body of water, isn't it? It's almost like it's not like a well, but maybe, is it a well?
I guess kind of, I don't know.
But,
like a mausoleum or
but
something?
The thing... Yeah, potentially actually. But this bit, I still get a bit confused to this day. So, out of the water pops zombie-looking people. Not quite sure who they are. It didn't feel right with me because it didn't feel like a supernatural film at all from the beginning. And then you see these zombie kind of people pop out the water and take one of the people dressed as a rabbit. And leaves the girl. I think, the girl managed to get away. I still don't quite understand that bit.
From what I understand, It's Dr. Satan was a guy. Initially, apparently, he was going to be Hugo. You know, one of the Fireflies, Hugo, the old guy with the
Oh yeah,
spit curl. He's like blah 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 blah.
yeah,
It was apparently it was originally going to be him, but Rob Zombie wanted a more kind of. He felt that was a bit of a disappointment or a letdown, so he wanted an actual kind of Dr. Satan. So that's why you get the guy in the kind of with the exoskeleton metal frame thing.
yeah,
You also get that guy with the big tomato head, who is actually the daddy Firefly, isn't he? He's like the original daddy Firefly because you see him in the Flash.
Yeah, I think
when he
so.
burns his son. So
Oh yeah.
So apparently that's what they are. Those are the kind of experiments and stuff. It kind of comes a little bit out of nowhere, I think, like with the rest of the film.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like it's suddenly a bit supernatural. Like, have these people just been sat underwater this entire time? Where have they come from?
Have they been eaten? Have they been,
Yeah, have they had experiments on them?
Who knows?
It's a bit confusing. I don't know if maybe there was a scene that explained that was edited out potentially.
Could be. I did read in Argentina that there was an extended cut. So there was certain scenes that were taken out, removed, or what have you. I think most people have the director's cut, but I think there was an extended cut. It's only been shown once.
Ah, right.
And that was Argentinian Film Festival, I think it was. I don't know why it was particularly shown there, but who knows? But yeah, so that's kind of the film. Do you want to talk about 31? Should we start?
Yeah, sure.
31.
Yeah.
So it's again very kind of similar premise. Killers getting hold of innocent people and trying to murder them. Basically, the premise. Set on Halloween, set in the set. I think it's set the year before House of a Thousand Corpses. I think in the.
Oh right, okay.
I believe
there's a bit in 31 that when I saw it, I was like, oh, House of 1,000 Corpses is when the carnies actually get abducted by people pretending to be scarecrows, and that happens in House of 1,000 Corpses when they're trying to get out and the gate's shut, and Rainn Wilson I think it's Rainn Wilson that gets out of the car at that point, and you've got Otis and the other guy, the big guy, jumps down from the scarecrow post
I didn't realize
and get them. So I did. I spotted that.
More similarities, see? Loads of similarities.
Yeah.
Even ones we haven't even thought of. I haven't thought of. But yeah, basically they get kidnapped and then they get put in this kind of arena maze area.
Yeah.
And they have to survive 12 hours and not be killed, basically.
Yep.
So it's on Halloween. The game is called 31 because it's first, I guess. That's the connection.
I thought that, yeah.
And it's run by these kind of very oddly. It's in a way, it's quite opposite to House of a Thousand Corpses because it's these quite erudite, these almost like Baroque figures. These English like, oh hello, it's Malcolm McDowell kind of being.
Malcolm McDowell's so good, yeah.
I love Malcolm McDowell in pretty much anything, to be honest.
Yeah,
like, you're going to get something out of him. And that's kind of the game. And then there's they're all kind of named, like you've got like Doomhead and Deathhead.
Sexhead.
Psycho Head and, Schizo Head.
Yeah, so it's almost like there's like levels to it, isn't there? So they've got to survive 12 hours in this arena, but they'll be met with psychopaths who are trying to kill them. So they start with, it's almost like a level. I feel like they're leveling up. Yeah, it's like a video game. No, I did really enjoy this film, and I went to see it at the. I think it was premiered in Manchester at Grimfest. I think it was. Ooh. That was like at the Printworks. With the Odeon and the Printworks. So that was really cool. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this movie again.
Yeah, I do think in regards to the last film, I think the rules in the game and the through line much clearer. Like,
yeah, I think
it's straightforward, isn't it? It's very straightforward.
Yeah, and I will just to quickly still talk about House of 1,000 Corpses. I will recommend you watch Devil's Rejects and Free from Hell, because the Devil's Rejects, I think he really found like their story and his story and what he wanted to say, and I think that's probably the most acclaimed of the three movies. I think
I've heard it's a vast improvement.
Yeah. So I think
it was not like it was terrible, but it levels up.
Yeah, 100%. And so by the time he got to 31, which is like 13 years later, I think he definitely got a lot better. Yeah.
Excellent. I bloody love Richard Brake in this.
Right, yeah.
He
He's
is
fantastic, isn't he?
he's kind of the lead villain. He's kind of his Doomhead,
Yeah.
and he has this amazing monologue at the start, just
Yeah.
introducing the movie, and it's just like it's pretty much almost all of it is just one single camera shot on him on his face, and
in black and white,
and it's absolutely terrifying. It's one of the best. It's probably one of the best monologues I've seen done on. I think he's a great actor. He was in Batman Begins. He played Joe Chill. Kills Batman's parents. Bang bang.
He's in a few Rob Zombie films. I think Rob Zombie does like to use like recast actors in different roles. So that's really cool. That's the dream. You want to get in with a director who will continue to use you in various projects. Yeah. But so he was in Halloween. I think he's in Halloween 2.
Yeah, isn't he in the ambulance? And he's making the awful jokes about shagging a dead body or something.
Yeah. He's also, for any Game of Thrones fans, he's the first Night King. So there was 2 Night Kings. And he was the first one. So he did the scene where he makes all the bodies rise again as Jon Snow's getting away. But yeah, so I saw Richard Brake in that. I think I was just watching like behind the scenes of Game of Thrones or whatever. And then when I saw he was in this, I was like, come on then, Night King. Let's see what you're about. And he was absolutely fucking brilliant. He's just amazing.
And and I just that monologue, like I could just watch that just stop again, like a really strong opening from a Rob Zombie film. It just gets you into it. It's just like he's like I've got the grease paint on, but I'm not a clown. I do not want an I'm not trying to initiate an amused response. It's like it's so good. And you believe it. You totally you're like I couldn't take my eyes off it. It was that good.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm in. I don't know where we're going, but I'm well in.
He's already had such like an amazing career. Like, it really is so cool because he's worked in predominantly like the UK and America. But I just feel like he's gonna skyrocket. He's just so talented. Like, how can he? Yeah, just wait and see.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got something like a. I mean, I think he's done a lot of kind of genre movie roles, but I think if you give him like a really juicy dramatic role,
I could see him like a Western.
Yeah, I think he'd do so well. And he's got this look. He's got this kind of, kind of skinny, kind of. But he's kind of got almost like an Iggy Pop type physique.
Yeah, he does actually.
Kind of like he's muscly, but he's quite skinny at the same time. And I, as much as I enjoy the kind of really over the top kind of performances, I mean, there's a lot of over the top performances in both films. Yeah. But I think for me, this is the most kind of like I think there's something more believable about his madness and about his kind of gradual kind of. There's a bit, and again, there's a build to it that we don't necessarily get in House of a Thousand Corpses.
Richard Brake is actually in The Devil's Rejects. It's Otis, Captain Spaulding, and Baby, and then in 3 from Hell, because unbeknownst to everyone, Haig was really poorly. He's only in it for a small amount of time. So the 3, I'm guessing, well, they basically bring Richard Brake in as another a member of the Firefly family. So it's those 3, but it's so. Do you know what I mean? Like, we'll just keep using the same actors, but there's a reason they're all really good.
I think when you work with we both worked with people, that we worked with before. I think you just trust people a bit more, and you know what they'll deliver. And I think you'd rather do that than sometimes take a chance on somebody that might not do what you need them to do necessarily. Or that is not necessarily up for doing certain things. But I think that's just the acting world at large, or any jobs. I think in some respects, any work for hire kind of jobs. But yeah, I love the kind of like you said, it was like a video where it's a video game. They're leveling up.
Yeah, they level up.
They've got to fight the first boss and the second boss and the third boss, and they're all a little bit different. So you start off with I think it's
Nazi.
Yeah, the dwarf dressed like Hitler who speaks in Spanish. I love that. Totally bizarre, totally weird. But even and they were like, oh, you struggle to only kill this one guy, and the next one is like two guys with chainsaws and like,
They've got my favourite joke actually. It's so bad, but it makes me laugh. You get because one of them's I think Sherry Moon's having a nightmare, and the chainsaw clowns are there, and one of them says, "What's the difference between a whore and an onion? I cry when I cut onions."
Oh God!
Oh yeah, so terrible, but it makes me laugh. But yeah, so is it them two next, and then after the two twin clowns?
Then I think I can't remember the other. I remember Sex Head, but I can't remember the other one.
The big guy that's with her.
Can't remember his name.
The Schizo Head, Psycho Head.
Those are the clowns.
Yeah, Sex Head, Death Head. Maybe it's Death Head.
Yeah, it might be Death Head, I think. I mean, they're all the names are fairly similar.
Yeah. But she's I like that actress that plays Sex Head because she's mostly done voiceovers for cartoons.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to say.
And she's in Friends. She plays. Do you know the other guitarist that steals Phoebe's song?
Yeah, the former partner with the cat uses smelly cat.
Yeah, that's her.
I think she's great as well, and I can't not hear a voice and think of Tommy Pickles from Rugrats.
Yes,
that's her. And and Buttercup from the Powerpuff Girls as well. I think those are two kind of
really
most
cool.
famous
She's a
roles.
Powerpuff Girl. Yeah.
Exactly. She's like Buttercup's like the tough one as well. So
yeah,
that's really cool. But I was like, oh my God, she's in this because I saw her and I was like, I know who she is. And even when I see her in Friends, I can still hear like Tommy Pickles and a lot of the other characters come through because you just hear someone's voice, and as good as the voice actor there are, a lot of the time you can still hear it. Same vocal cords. But yeah, she's great in this. And she like when her the Death Head, her fella gets killed, she's screaming.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
She's fantastic.
I really liked the protagonists in this one, the group of they are carnies, aren't they?
Yeah, they work for a carnival. I don't know if there's maybe like a prostitute angle as well or something, because talking about they've got like a song about like not wet ass pussy, but there's a song like kind of wet ass pussy, like keep it wet or whatever.
But it was really cool to see like a group, because usually it's 5 teenagers. They're probably all white, heterosexual, like, do you know what I mean?
Very horny.
Yeah, and with these guys, you just got like middle-aged, just group of friends. It felt like a real group of friends, and
that's
it was just great to see the diversity there.
Oh yeah. You've got 2 black guys. Was there a Spanish guy as well, or am I making that up?
No, I think he's
I
can't remember his
name. But they're all really good. I think what's great about this one is Zombie in less time establishes these people as real people. And I didn't get that in House of Corpses with the like we said, they turn up, they're like, no, we're doing this, we're doing that.
Yeah.
Like I get that they're kind of bickering and stuff, but I don't think the female characters had that much to do or say, other than
in
House of 1,000 Corpses.
Oh yeah.
Other than maybe calling Sherry Moon Zombie a slut and stuff. I don't think there was that much they were doing.
Yeah. They were both just. I don't know if he wanted to do that though, because because you usually, if you root for the people you like, and I don't think he made those 4 characters in the first film that likable. So you kind of weren't bothered that they were getting slapped about a bit at first, and then it was like, oh no, actually this is pretty. They don't deserve to die.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna make them unlikable, make them really unlikable.
If
you go,
don't make it confusing.
Don't if you want me to like make them really likable or make them just fucking awful, like one or the other. But if you're in the middle ground, I'm kind of not really sure. I think that was my issue with that. But like in the less time, like I said, in less time, he establishes real people with like songs. It's songs that they sing with each other. They have these relationships. They have the arguments. They have these stories. They're running in on
History.
people having sex, and putting a a gorilla mask on, things like that. It feels more kind of it feels more lived in. I think the universe and their world feels more lived in. So when we get to the peril and when we get to the danger, you are rooting for them. You're not rooting for the villains. You are rooting for them because you've got to know them. And even when you're in there, there's some of them are like there's that scene where they're like, I'm hungry. We've passed this first level of the game. They've got some food, and they're like, I need to fill my stomach. Nom, 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 nom. And like, it could be poison. It was like, no, we've got to play the game. There's like certain rules that we're playing by.
Yeah.
And then they kind of pull the cloth away, and it's they've been eating their dead friend. It's like,
yeah.
But yeah,
horrible.
But I like games where the place where they're doing it is called Murder World. And I found that on the trivia. They call it Murder World. I don't think they're naming the film, but apparently it's called Murder World. And actually in Marvel Comics, there's actually a place called Murder World, and it's kind of like a carnival, kind of arcade type kind of thing.
That's interesting.
And again, it's kind of a similar game system. There's like giant, like the X-Men end up in like a giant pinball machine that they have to escape, and Spider-Man, Captain Britain, and all that. There's a character called Arcade who's kind of like almost like a Joker jester type character.
Oh, cool.
But yeah,
I've heard of that before.
Yeah, he's quite a well-establised kind of Marvel villain. He's not in any of the movies or anything, but he's he's a kind of a big kind of deal. He did like a kind of battle royale thing called, I think it's called Avengers Arena, and it was kind of killed off a lot of the kind of lesser known Avengers. They all got murdered one by one. So
oh my god,
yeah, it's pretty cool little series that.
Yeah,
check that out if you're interested. But yeah, I think it's great. I like these kind of types of movies, the survival. These deadly games kind of type movies.
I think it's because you like to think that if you were in there, you'd get out. I think.
What would I do? How would I approach it?
Yeah, you like to think you'd escape. Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I should have guessed really that. Spoiler alert! But Sherry survives to the
final girl
end. Because final girl, and it's his wife. So, but
she has to win.
Yeah, I should have guessed, but she has to win. But I was kind of rooting for. I like them all. I liked what's the actress called now? The stunning eyes, Meg Foster.
Oh yeah, she's great.
I was rooting for her. I was like, yes, because she's. I'm not quite sure how old she is in the film. She's meant to be in the film. But
she's kind of like the matriarch, isn't she? She's kind of like the mothering figure, and like even when they're left alone, she's like, "You've let her go off on her own. What are you doing? You're an idiot. Don't let me sleep. You need to rest. No, don't let me sleep." And all this other sort of stuff happens, but she's she's full on like she's the other like. If Sherry Moon wasn't in this, she would definitely be the final girl if there was going to be a final girl. So, but yeah, I think it's great. I think you've got a great bunch of villains, like really funny, weird. I mean, you probably don't get as much time as you do in House of 1,000 Corpses with them.
No.
But I think I enjoyed them.
What you saw,
what I saw of them was kind of enough. None of them outstayed their welcome, and the one I wanted to stay the most was Richard Brake as Doomhead, and I'm glad I got all of the Richard, because I was like, I didn't know how much we get of him in the film, but like the last 10-20 minutes is all him, and he's just fantastic, and I would,
he really is.
I'd purely like, if I've got to tell anybody to watch the film for it, it's this actor, just watch it for him. I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed House of 1,000 Corpses. It's going to make the comparison very difficult.
I like the realism you get in these films as well, because sometimes when you're watching like a horror movie, say like one of the villains in 31 would have like super, like if Richard Brake, if they'd given him like super strength, like he was able to like lift like one of the big guys up or something like that, I just think it'd be like, oh come on. But I think there's a nice balance of like realism and actual like ability or capability of what a human would be able to do to another human, and that's terrifying.
But then also, like, he's not carrying around like a massive axe or a sword.
No.
He's just got these little kind of, flick knives.
Yeah.
Switchblades,
What are they called? Are they called switchblades?
I think switchblades.
Flick knives? No.
I don't. I'm making stuff up now. I'm making it up as I go. But yeah, those kind of you press the button and it releases the knife kind of thing. And I think for him and his like physique, he's quick, he's lithe, he's deadly. He doesn't need like a big scary weapon like a machete. Or he just needs to be like la 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 la, and just and just kind of get at you. And but yeah, I just that's enough for me. Those kind of two, and I love that he. Again, there's a lot of this kind of like horror movies are like we like to play the game, we play with our food type thing. But I quite enjoyed him doing it. Like it sometimes is a bit of a cliche that comes across, but yeah, it's I enjoyed the way he does it and the performance. Like I'm buying it. I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. Give me more of this.
Yeah,
I
really like the soundtrack in this movie as well. In 31, there's some great songs.
Has it got
utilised in it?
It's got a good theme to it as well. I think as well. This kind of when they do use a theme, it is good. Again, I think that's one of the things with House of a Thousand Corpses. It was more. I felt with that film, it was like, right, play a Rob Zombie song. Play another Rob Zombie song. Someone might buy it. Kind of. Sometimes I felt like it didn't necessarily always suit what was going on.
Yeah.
In the film. But that big slow motion sequence, I think the song in that is like "I Remember You" or something. That big slow motion sequence, and that works perfectly. But I think there was occasions where I'm like, because this kind of music wouldn't really be played in the 70s. So it's like it's like Tarantino. He never plays movies that are like set in that songs that are set in that period. He always plays some 70s funk or something, that you wouldn't necessarily listen to in that era. Like I think loads of like in the Inglourious Bastards, there's loads of kind of music like that. Django, for example, there's loads of music that you would never hear at that time in that period. But it works. He picks the right kind of songs and stuff. But I think he kind of was probably like, I've got the rights to this, I own it, just slap it in. But it's one of those. I think it's interesting that with you get less kind of detail about the villains in 31, but you get more from the victims, and then in House of 1,000 Corpses, it's the opposite. You're getting more from the villains, more information, backstory.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, I don't know if he was intentionally trying to make them protagonists, but I mean, definitely by the Devil's Rejects, you're 100% rooting for them, and you want them to escape at the end. But I think because of it's like an introduction to them in House of 1,000 Corpses. Again, this could have been the problem in the edit. This could have been. We could have got to know the four young people a bit better than it got chopped, or I don't know if it just got a little bit confused and they accidentally made the killers the protagonists. And they were meant like it was meant to be like Texas Chainsaw. You're rooting for the travellers. They're not travellers at all, but they're travelling somewhere. So
they're on the road. They're on the road.
Yeah, roadies.
They're roadies. But yeah, it's they're both very interesting films. I really enjoy watching them. I watched them like absolutely back to back. Like House of 1,000 Corpses straight into this. I was like, no rest for the wicked. I'm gonna binge both of these, and again, like it was a nice experience. It was a good experience, and I think I will actually watch more Rob Zombie stuff because I am kind of interested to see like there's Lords of Salem and
it's interesting. The first time I watched Lords of Salem, I was very confused. I don't know if I just drank a bit too much, but I just wasn't. I wasn't a big fan, and then I watched it again last Halloween, and I really enjoyed it. And it's got Meg Foster in it again from 31, and it's got Dee Wallace in it and Barbara Crampton.
Oh yeah.
And so like
we talked about them last year, didn't we? We talked about all those people.
Dee Wallace is in, and she's unrecognisable. She's in 3 from Hell. I didn't even see it was her until the credits roll at the end, and it said Dee Wallace, and I was like, when? What?
Who?
Was she? But I definitely encourage you to watch Devil's Rejects, 3 from Hell. Lord of Salem. You've seen the Halloweens.
I've seen the Halloweens. Yeah.
So yeah, that's
most of them.
You don't have to watch them.
Don't have to watch the rest. Yeah, I'm definitely going to give them a go. I want to finish off the trilogy definitely, and see what Lord of Salem is about. I've heard that's quite different to what it usually does.
Oh yeah, it is. It's more like witchy, which is cool.
Supernaturally. Yeah, I'll definitely give that a go. I tell you what, shall we begin the comparison?
Yeah, go on.
Let's do it. Let's just go for it. Okay, so we always do it by 5 different categories. We always compare them. So first off, it's writing, then acting, then music, then cinematography, and then finally direction. So writing-wise, between the 2 films, House of 1,000 Corpses versus 31, which do you think has the better writing? Again, it's the same person doing both, but what do we think? It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've not set any of my answers down because I'm like I like to discuss it with the people. I'm because sometimes they can change my mind when I'm discussing it with people. So
yeah. So I'd have to say, although I love the jokes and Richard Brake's lines, I would have to give the writing to House of a Thousand Corpses just purely. It's so quotable. It's so quotable and believable, and I love Sid Haig's performance of Captain Spaulding. And yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to House of a Thousand.
I love how torn you are between the 2 films. I can hear it in your voice. You're like,
it's because it's Richard Brake. Yeah. Like
these are always quite tough. Like I found that the films I tend to choose, people are like, oh my god, but they're both good. They're both really good. So yeah, that was one of the things in House of 1,000 Corpses. I could have done with more Sid Haig as well. I really like 31. I think it's great. I think everything's good, but the premise is quite basic. I've seen it done before.
Yeah,
I actually think that I could write that movie or a version of that movie to some respect. Yeah. I could say, right, these are some people. They're in this situation. They're being chased by all these crazy weirdos, and they're going to get killed within the It's a very kind of it's a straightforward, easy premise. So I am also going to give the writing to House of 1,000 Corpses because again, we get to know the characters. We have, like you said, really quotable, funny dialogue. As good as that opening monologue with Richard Brake is in 31. 1,000 Corpses. It's full of dialogue. It's full of, again, that could have been improvised, but I think the strength of those characters and as weird as they get, and every scene there's something to get out of it and something to enjoy in the dialogue. Where Baby's torturing that guy and scalping him. There's like, who's my favorite actress? Wrong. All that sort of stuff.
I love them when Otis Jiminy comes dressed as with a dad's face on. And they're like, who's your daddy? And he says, he takes it off and he looks at her and he says, it's all true. The boogeyman is real and you found him. Oh my God. You just shit right there, wouldn't you? You just have a massive shit on the floor. And in Devil's Rejects,
after kissing your dad's severed face, I probably would. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I love that scene where he's having like a political diatribe with the cheerleaders. So he's like, "You don't get it, man. You don't get it. Yeah, society has created me," and all this sort of stuff.
And I love when Captain Spaulding gets in the car after getting that woman out of the car, and the little boy's like, ugh, and he's like, what's the matter, kids? Don't you like clowns? Why? Aren't we fucking funny? It's just brilliant. It's so quotable.
Yeah. I think the writing is it's much more kind of fun and it's more dialogue heavy as well.
Yeah.
You get more kind of bang for your buck in terms of script and writing. Again, they could I'd say there's probably half as much dialogue in 31, so you're not really getting the richness that you want to get from a script. So I'll also give my point to House of 1,000 Corpses. So that's 2-0, 2-0. So next one. So the next category was acting.
Are you keeping score, by the way?
I'll keep score. So
Cool.
as best I can. So two for 1,000 corpses so far. So acting. What has the better acting or the better acting performance in your opinion?
Oh, see, I really like Sherry Moon, but I do think she 100% progressed as an actor since House of 1,000 Corpses. I think she's definitely got better. Honestly, just watch. I'm pushing you now. I'm like, watch Devil's Rejects and Three from Hell, and you'll see in Three from Hell just how much she's progressed, and she's gotten a lot better. But you've got So you've got Sid Haig, Bill Moseley. I'm thinking. I'm trying to weigh them up. Karen Black. Sadly, a lot of people from House of 1,000 Corpses have passed away now, actually. But so I'm like tipping the scales.
You've got your Richard Brake, you've got your Sherry Moon, the much improved Sherry Moon for 31.
Yeah.
Malcolm McDowell, you've got all the different heads. You've got all the Meg Foster, you've got all those kind of characters from 31. It's hard. It's hard. These choices are hard. They're kind of meant to be. But there's got to be a winner. There has to be a winner. So we have to decide. This is a tough one for me as well. I think it is hard. It is bloody hard. It is bloody hard.
Part of me just wants to give it to House of 1,000 Corpses purely just because of Sid Haig.
Yeah.
Like,
he is great.
I just thought it was a genius, but
you know what? I'm going to give it House of 1,000 Corpses because I think you've got as you know, as full tilt crazy as they are, they're still like you said, they're very kind of believable. While still being quite over the top, they're still like you can kind of still picture it. And I think Bill Moseley is great. I think you're right. I think Sherry Moon is very much like.
Just. I think the problem. I think it was just a little bit one note.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'd say because like she's doing it. I can believe I know what the character is, but she just had nowhere to go. Really, it was just like at this level all the way through.
Like full tilt crazy. We're not going down. We're not moving from this.
Yeah, it's just there.
That's it.
Yeah. Whereas like in 31 and 3 from Hell, she's got a lot more of a journey.
Yeah,
you can see that.
She is. I can definitely see between the two films as well. Like absolutely, 100%. She's much more believable as a character, as an actor and a performer. And that's probably just down to practice and stuff. And
yeah, absolutely.
So I think Sid Haig is great. I just wish I could have just done with more Sid Haig. That was my only issue. I don't think the victims are very good, but I'm going to give it with the Firefly family and Captain Spaulding and those the weirder characters are done better than the
right. I think Rainn Wilson was good as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're not awful. Not awful. I just think I just needed a bit more kind of something from.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
And again, like we said, it's probably on the cutting room floor somewhere, most likely.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'll give it House of 1,000 Corpses. But again, that opening monologue, Richard Brake, just
stunning.
If you don't want to watch the film, fine. Just go on.
Just
YouTube, watch that monologue, that opening monologue from Richard Brake. Fantastic bit of acting, bit of monologuing. But yeah, so I'll give it to 1,000 Corpses. You say you're giving it to 1,000 Corpses, House of 1,000 Corpses. So that's 4. So that's 4 points already. House of 1,000 Corpses. 31. You got to pick it up. You got to pick up your game. So let's have a look. What's the next category? So music. So score, soundtrack.
Okay. Okay, this one I will give to 31, definitely. Just the soundtrack. Like they've got Leonard Skinner. They've got Sing Away Now, Sing for the Year. I can't remember what it's called now. The one at the end.
It's Aerosmith, Dream On.
Oh yeah, of course. God, of course, it's Steven Tyler. When he starts screaming.
To be fair, like it's the first recording they did of Dream On. It doesn't really sound. It doesn't have his Aerosmith, the recognizable Steven Tyler voice. So it's kind of,
right.
Like it's he kind of like he was like, oh, I always held back, and then later on I was like, yeah,
Yeah. There's also a really good song called "Walk Away" by James Gang in there, which is really good. And then they use the music very well to like build suspense and build tension, the jump scares. So yeah, I think I'm going to give that to them.
I
31.
I have to totally agree with you. I think I said earlier, like about the kind of the music doesn't really fit necessarily in House of Thousand Corpses sometimes, and it does feel like you're just going like, here's some of my music, here's this, here's that. But again, there are certain scenes like the I Remember You slow motion bit, great, that works. However, like everything you've just said, I just totally agree, 100%. Yes, so 31, so that's 4 to House of 1,000 Corpses and 2 to 31. There we go. Okay, so next one. It is cinematography.
Interesting.
So basically the look of the film or how it's presented or,
Do you know what I was saying before about House of 1,000 Corpses was the studio film and 31 was the independent film? But it looks like the other way around. It looks like the first one was the independent movie and 31 was a studio film. I mean, I guess it's just preference, really, like what you like. I think the cinematography is lovely in 31, but but it works really well in House of 1,000 Corpses because it's a bit distorted and they keep going to these like negative images and so.
Yeah, it gives it that.
I don't want to get confused with the direction and cinematography.
Yeah, that's coming. Don't worry, direction's coming. But it's just, I think it's just, I always think of it just visually, like this visual style.
I'd say, go on then. Do you know what? I might have to give it to 31 then, just for the opening monologue of Richard Brake, the standoff at the end.
Oh yeah, that's good. I think some of the fights.
The bit with the clowns.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say the bit with the clowns in their like horrible little dungeon bit.
Yeah. Even the bit with Sickhead when he's kind of like he's dragging his knives across the walls and it's dark.
Yeah, there's some nice shots in there, isn't there?
Really dank, dirty toilets that they fight in as well.
Yeah.
So okay, so I'm gonna give it to 31 as well. I think there's part of me that I'm watching House of 1,000 Corpses and I know it's a set. Like, I know it looks like a set. I feel like it's a set. They put all this great stuff, all these horror references all over the walls, all this stuff they've collected, all the kind of lampshades made of skin and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But I can tell it's on a set. It's almost like, nowadays when you can tell stuff's on a green screen. It's kind of like that. You can go, that's clearly you're clearly on a green screen. None of that is there. I can just tell.
Right.
I think it's
I know
kind
what
of
you mean.
It's kind of like that feel. So okay, so that's 4 to House of 1,000 Corpses, and 4 to 31. So this is it. This is the decider. So it's all down to Rob Zombie's direction. How do we think this will play out? What do you think? I mean, obviously it's the same guy, it's the same director, but obviously there's a lot of time has passed between these two films. I know for a fact he said that he doesn't like to look back on House of 1,000 Corpses because he can see the flaws. And he wasn't happy with it, and obviously there's a lot of kind of to-ing and fro-ing with editing and various other problems, going between two different studios, that sort of thing. But obviously, much like Sherry Moon's performances, he's obviously come on leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
But do you think that shows?
I mean, it'd be different if I was comparing. I think like House of 1,000 Corpses to 3 from Hell. Because it's the trilogy, but because they're just two completely ideas and completely different films, it's difficult because when I watch House of 1,000 Corpses, I can see exactly what he had in mind. I know these people. I know he knows these people, and I can see it all wrapped up. I'm like, yeah, I know what you're selling. I know what you're trying to give to me here. Like the feel of it, the way it's color graded, like. But then for 31, like you say, it's very much more clean cut, straight through. But I enjoy House of 1,000 Corpses more. So I think, it's gonna have to be that one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You can. I think there's a lot of enjoyment. I think there's a lot of enjoyment to get out of both films. I think that neither is a bad film. Like I don't think either of these are bad. I think. For me, I think I see the holes more in 1,000 Corpses. Just But again, I think that's down to editing, being a new filmmaker, trying out ideas.
For that to be like one of your first films as well, like
I like
do you know
that's
what I
not.
mean?
It's not a bad thing. Like it's not a bad kind of experience to watch it. I'm like, I enjoyed it. It's not the again. I don't think it's the most polished film
No.
that he's done. Right. Oh, see, these are tough. These are tough. They're not easy these decisions to make in life in general. You know what? I'm gonna disagree with you, Rasheen. I'm gonna give it to 31. So
and why?
And why? Because I think he has improved. I think it looks better. It's sharper. It's got that strong through line. It's got more relatable characters for the protagonists. I know that obviously I can only somewhat relate to the Firefly family on some level. Some days there are people I feel like I do want to murder, so I can relate somewhat. But then other times I'm like, maybe not so much with the the skinning and the scalping and the turning people into fish. That type. I
think it's like definitely a cult film, isn't it? And I think unfortunately I'm part of that cult, so I will probably stand by it.
Yeah,
but
that's fine. You are entitled to your opinion, Roisin, as am I. But I just think it's a polished film. I got more enjoyment out of it. I think there was a lot more tension, like you were saying. The music ramps up that tension. I was concerned for them, like in House of 1,000 Corpses. I was like, you're never getting out of this. You're definitely dead. Like there's no way. It was almost like a pre-gone conclusion. I just knew that it just wasn't going to happen for them. But with the performance and the tension, right up to the end, I was kind of on the edge of my seat. There was some great performances. And I think it's just, I think in a way it is unfair to compare them, but I think there are quite a lot of similarities as well. So again,
I understand.
I think Rob Zombie you can see the improvement. It's just it's gone up a level. But again, I appreciate that you like House of 1,000 Corpses more. I can definitely see why you like House of 1,000 Corpses more, because it's just batshit crazy and mad.
Anything,
and again, it does. I love, like, for me, I'm all about cult films. This podcast is all about cult films. I think arguably they could both be quite cult. I think, arguably, but I think you're right. I think House of 1,000 Corpses definitely has more cult following. Within the genres and stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna give it to 31. So
we have a tie.
We're just gonna have to fight. We're just gonna have to fight. No, we're gonna run our own game of 31. I've got to try and kill you.
Oh no!
You've got 12 hours. Get running now. But no, so we got a vote for one and a vote for another one. So I'm not sure if that's happened before or not. I don't know if I've totally disagreed with somebody before. I don't know. I have to go back and check.
But just watch Devil's Rejects.
I will, absolutely.
And 3 from Hell. Yeah.
I've got to finish the story.
I need you to let me know what you think.
I might put them on. I might edit this and I might put them on tonight and just see how we get on.
There's a really gruesome bit in Devil's Rejects that makes me like, ooh, every time I'm watching it, like grimace, because I just think, fucking hell, no. No, thought you were gonna be okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking for. I am, after watching these two films. People have opinions on Rob Zombie movies and Rob Zombie and his direction and his movies, but I honestly have enjoyed both of these movies. And again, people are entitled to their opinion, but I've enjoyed these. Didn't necessarily enjoy his Halloween, but again, with that, I was doing a podcast for and Now the Screaming Starts podcast. A friend of mine, Dan, we basically went through all the Halloween films. I didn't watch all of them. I watched most of them. He's slowly releasing those. I think he's getting close to releasing all of them. We recorded them a couple of years ago now.
Amazing!
But he's slowly but surely kind of releasing those on his podcast. So keep an eye.
That's cool. I will do. I'll
And
listen
now
to
the
that.
screaming, not now the screaming starts. That's the film. Now the podcast starts is the podcast.
Ah, right.
Definitely check him out. It's got some really good kind of gothic horror, and it's got some really good co-hosts as well. I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but they're really good. Really nice people, and it's all kind of horror based as well, classic and new.
Yeah.
They did a great Suspiria podcast recently, which was really good.
Oh,
The classic one, not the
Suspiria.
newer one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that film. So good.
Yeah.
I recorded recently with him. We talked about Lucio Fulci's The Black Cat, which is like based on the
no
Edgar
way.
Allan Poe film. It's all about a killer
Yeah.
cat. So what are you gonna do?
I've not seen that one.
Yeah, it's on. I think it's on Arrow. I think that's one of the channels, or Shudder.
Oh, right, yeah.
One of the channels you can buy on Amazon Prime. You can buy, pay for the extra channel.
Oh, I've got Shudder. I'll have a look.
Might be on
see if
Shudder.
it's
Might be
there.
on Shudder. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. But yeah, this has been great, Roisin. I think we've covered everything. I'm really
thank you for
glad to
having
have you back for Shockphobia Fest. I'm sure I'll have you back again next year. Maybe we'll talk about something else. I'm sure if you have any ideas. I did really like. I think May you recommended last time. I watched that the other day and absolutely loved that movie from 2002.
Yeah.
Absolutely great. I think the tagline was, "If you can't find a friend, make one." Which
Yeah, it's it's heartbreaking, but it's good. It's a good psychological. Yeah, so at the moment we're doing 31 days of horror for the countdown to Halloween. So last night we watched Beetlejuice.
Nice.
Not quite sure. Tonight is The Houses October Built, which
I've not
is
seen
a
that
found footage. It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that, but I'll let you know how that one went.
So you're doing ones you've seen before and then new ones as well?
Oh yeah, mixing it up a bit. Just anything kind of like, I mean, Beetlejuice isn't set on Halloween, but it just feels like a Halloween movie.
Yeah, of course.
So, but then the rest are all kind of set around Halloween. Like we watched The Lady in White the other night.
Oh, I want to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not aged very well. I'll be honest.
No.
It's a bit racist. Not gonna lie. Yeah,
I think it's set. I think it's set in the 60s, isn't it, or something? I think it was made in the 80s, but set in the 60s, maybe. I can't remember. But yeah, I've compiled like a massive list because for this month for the Shockphobia Fest and for Alternativity Stories, which is a Christmas one of alternate Christmas films.
Yeah.
I just compiled these massive lists. So yeah, I try and do ones that are set on Halloween if I can, and ones definitely films that are set at Christmas. Might not necessarily feel very Christmassy, but that's why they're a bit alternative. It just gives people a chance to watch something that is not Home Alone, National Lampoon's Christmas, the same old shit every year.
There was a really good film. I can't remember if it was Finnish. It's called Rare Exports.
Oh,
it's a Christmas film.
I did that. It was my second episode, I think, on the podcast. Talked about Rare Exports. Love it.
Yeah, it was really cool, really good. I loved Krampus as well, but I love Toni Collette, so I think I was gonna love that one.
Does she play a slightly, mentally ill woman by any chance?
Toni Collette? No, she's all right. She's all right in Krampus. Have you seen it?
No. My friend got it for me. Dennis got it for me last Christmas, but I've not watched it yet, so I might watch it.
Oh yeah, watch that this year. There's a brilliant bit where because obviously Krampus is coming instead of Santa Claus, and he's the bad guy, and he's quite scary actually. But then there's a bit where you hear like jingling, and they're all stood in the house, like and the grandma just goes, "The elves," like. It's funny. It's a comedy horror, 100%. Because it's got. If you look at the cast list, you're like, "Oh, you're known for Saturday Night Live. You're in every comedy there is. You're like."
It's a good
cast. It's definitely comedy horror.
It's the same guy. I did it last year for another Clone Wars. I did Trick or Treat. I love. Fantastic.
I love it. I watched it the other day.
And it's so good. Same director as Krampus, in fact. So
yes,
makes a lot of sense.
Have you seen Tales of Halloween? It's an anthology movie.
Well, that's what we compared last year. We compared Trick or Treat with Tales of Halloween.
Right. My favourite segment in Tales of Halloween is Sweet Tooth. The one at the beginning.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah, that's a good one. I like the little alien one. Twick or tweet. That one was
Yeah,
I love that one.
yeah, that was loads of fun. Yeah,
I think if I remember rightly, Trick or Treat won the Clone Wars, but again, both very enjoyable in their own right.
yeah. Hmm.
There was there's always with these horror I love a good horror anthology anyway. But I think that's the strength and the weakness of horror anthologies. There's always one that's not that good. There's always a couple where you're like, oh, that was a bit weak.
Yeah.
And I know in Tales of Halloween there's one where it's like, if someone gets told a spooky story, she thinks she's been stalked home, and then the guy's there when she gets home. It was just very meh.
The one I didn't like was the Hansel and Gretel one, just because I didn't understand. I still don't understand what happened. But
who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think we have our sun has set on this spooky day in October. Would you like to tell people where they can find you on the social medias?
Yeah.
You've got a new Instagram group, haven't you?
Yeah. So I'm part of Fright Hub now. So we're just basically trying to make some horror films and share spooky things. And we've come up with a film that we're shooting on Friday, actually called Bojo. And it's about a killer clown.
Yes.
But we've named him after our numpty of a prime minister.
Oh, I see what you've done there. I see what you've done there. Political.
So I know it's really not. It's just a name that popped into my head, and I was like, "It's called Bojo," and I was like, "Oh, hang on a minute." So yeah, Fright Hub UK is what we're known as, and we so that's on Instagram. We do a bit of streaming as well on Dead by Daylight. If anyone is into gaming,
nice. Is that like a Twitch? Do you have a Twitch channel or?
Yeah, I think so, on YouTube as well. And then my page is row.scream, and this is just something new that I've been doing recently, because of my love of horror movies and makeup. I've just been starting to do a few makeup looks, basically.
And they're amazing. They're really, really good. I really enjoy
thank
seeing
you.
them. And I always get a kick. I was like, what's he going to be today? Ooh.
Yeah.
What's she going to be? I don't know, but I really get a kick out of it. So I'll share. I'll make sure I link all those pages.
Thank you.
And make sure that everybody kind of visits those, likes them, share, and subscribe. Support each of the guys. It's really.
I think because of the new Instagram algorithm, apparently it's better to save and share. But still like and comment, but saving and sharing, it shows it to more of your following, and therefore bizarre.
Yeah,
I'm having to learn about all this shit now. I'm like, what?
SEO, search engine, optimization, all that sort of weird stuff.
Yeah,
I still don't really know how it works, but people seem to find me. I get downloads from all over, like the Netherlands and Syria, and
oh really?
Name it.
That's amazing.
Amazing. Like, it's amazing that I can reach so many people and so many people listen. I think it's incredible. I can touch so many people across the world, and they keep coming back to hear my annoying voice. It's great. So I do appreciate wherever you're from. Keep listening. Keep commenting and downloading. Doing what you do, and I'll keep doing what I do as best I can. Well, that's it for today. I've really enjoyed this, Roisin. Thank you so much for your time today. I know you're very, very busy with everything. You've got so much on.
No, it's fine.
You've got all your acting. You've got all this Fright Hub stuff. You got all your tag meetings, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's incredible that you do as much as you do, because I struggle to just do this and my regular job, let alone anything else. Yeah. So you're a hard worker, and I appreciate your work ethic. And thanks again. And I'll have you on again very soon. Have a think about what you want to do. We'll get together and do something, whatever you fancy. It doesn't have to be horror related. If you don't want, we can do.
Okay, cool.
Fancy. Got lots of. My schedule is very open. I planned out the entire year, and guess what happened? A horrible virus came along and ruined everything. So I had to just feel like, right, I'm just going to do random stuff. So let me know, because I imagine, hopefully not, it won't be around this time next year. I hope, fingers crossed, but we never know. We just have to kind of roll with the punches at the moment. So my social media, you can find me on Facebook, it's at Secret Balls, Twitter, it's at Dan_Balls, Instagram, Spider Dan Secret Balls, all one word. Podcast is available on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and there are previews available on YouTube and lots of other places. If you'd like to donate towards the podcast, you can buy me a coffee at fi.com/SpiderDan and the Secret Balls. And when you interact with us, don't forget to use the hashtag #PrepareForPrattle. Thank you again, Roisin. You have been incredible, as per usual.
Thank you, Dan.
I will let you get back to your Firefly funhouse. You can do all your murderings and your killer clowns and all that stuff.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Take care, Roisin. Bye-bye.
Bye.